Yes, Raneem, am I audible to you?
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
All right. So we were discussing about electric current. We started with it. Yes, Raneem,
Yes,
tell me what is meant by electric current?
ma'am, at the rate at which charges flow.
Yes, the rate at which the charges flow. Correct. So what's the formula for it?
I is equal to Q by T. Q is charge, T is
I
time.
is equal to yes, right. And we also talked about drift velocity. What was that when we were talking about the drift velocity?
When electric field is, battery is connected and the electrons flow in the direction of towards the positive terminal with the velocity.
Average velocity. This is not the
Yes.
individual velocity. We take the average velocity of all the electrons. Here, when we are talking about the drift velocity, it's basically the average velocity of all the electrons with which they are drifting towards the positive terminal of the battery. Okay, now let's have a discussion based on its derivation. How will you derive it? Okay, Raneem, let's talk about acceleration of the electron. I hope my voice is properly audible.
Yes, ma'am, it's audible.
Okay. Acceleration due to the moving electron. Moving electron will be P. One thing we know, force is equal to mass into acceleration. So from here we can say acceleration is force divided by mass. Now when
Yes.
we're talking about the forces, means the forces on the electron. If our charge is E, let's say small e is the charge on the electron, that's the electronic charge. Let's assume electric field is E. E is the electric field. Raneem, tell me what will be the force?
F is equal to QE.
Yeah, so Q is your E. So F will be equal to E into E.
Yes.
I can say acceleration is E by M. Or if I write it in vector form, I have to put the sign also minus for the vector. This is right till here.
Ma'am, why minus?
Electron, negative charge. I'm writing it in
Oh,
the vector form. है ना? I'm not writing the magnitude. Electron is negative. So that's now we are assuming that within this wire there are n number of electrons filled. Completely within this segment, there are n number of electrons that are filled. Now see, when n number of electrons are filled within them, every electron will have its initial velocity as well. Like
yes.
it is having its final velocity, which we are calculating, its initial velocity will also be existing. So the initial velocity of all the electrons, let's say one is u1, other is u2, u3, u4, u5 till unth. These are the initial velocities. Now, when let's say I have written it here, u1 is the initial velocity of first electron, second electron, third till nth. N is the number of electrons. So let's assume n is the number of electrons. So here also for the initial velocity also I'll have to take its average initial velocity. So I'll take how do we take the average? U1
Ma'am, add plus divide by the
at
number
plus
of.
divide by. Very good. So when I have to calculate the average initial velocity, I'll make it U1 plus U2 plus U3. How many I have taken? Let's say nth divided by n. Okay, now
Yes.
see, electrons initially, what was the position of electrons? We have studied when electrons are started, that initial condition is all about electrostatics. Means the electrons will not be moving. Initially they are at rest. When the circuit is applied, everything is set up. When the circuit is set up, then the electric field applies and the electrons start to move, begin to move.
Ma'am, but won't they be in random motion?
That random motion, this one, This you're saying.
Yes.
The initial velocity means when the electrons are moving. Okay, you're talking about that when they have started moving towards the wire. What about this initial velocity? Like every electron that will be making. This one.
Ma'am, I'm saying they are already in random motion, so would
Okay,
that
that
will
velocity is very, very less. That is very less. See, electrons are just colliding. They are in random motion. They are not supplied externally by something. Whatever is there internally, they are just moving here and there. So that initial velocity is very less of the electrons when initially the electrons are in random motion. That's why we need electric field. Otherwise, this random motion was sufficient for the current. Why would we need an external electric field in such a case? We require the electric field because we know the initial velocity is very less. That's why the molecules, the electrons are just like the molecules moving here and there. So their initial velocity is also very less, that is negligible. And even we can say initially all the electrons are at rest.
so ma'am that random motion we are approximating it to zero.
It to zero, exactly. So here when we take the average, we can write this whole equation as zero because it is almost negligible. Electrons for us, we assume that electrons are at rest. Though what exactly happens, I've already told you, they are not completely at rest. They are in
Yes.
movement, but we assume that electrons, all the electrons are at initially at rest. Now there is one more concept, Rani, that is, see, when the electrons are colliding no, with each other. So once suppose it collides with this one, before it begins the successive collision, before it begins to collide here or collide here, or any successive collision, electrons take a small break, a very, very small break that is negligible. Okay. Not even negligible, that times is in terms of fraction of seconds. Like, see, if one electron is there, one electron is here, one electron. Let's say this electron collided with this electron. Now it is about to collide with the next one. So before it
Yes.
begins the successive collision, it will take a very small break. Obviously, these things are not visible to us, so you just have to imagine it in terms of breaks and movement like this, which terms you already know. For electron, that's not actually a break. Electron has just stopped itself and is gaining momentum to collide for the next one because initial velocity is zero. There is no external electric field, so electrons have to move on their own randomly without any power, without any electric field. So before the electron collides here, there is a small time gap. That small time gap is known as the relaxation time. Okay. Every electron will have its relaxation time. It will be in the power of 10 or it will be in decimals. It will be a very small value. Okay, so
Ma'am,
that is
after colliding with the electron, will it be at rest or will it move back a little? Because usually when something collides against
it
something,
will
it
move
moves
back
back
a
a little.
little bit. Yeah, it will move back a little bit and then it will prepare itself to begin next question like this. This is what
So
happens if
that
you think
ma'am, moving back time is relaxation time or
entire,
what's
yes.
the
Once collided, entire from when the electron is moving back and coming back to the next electron. That whole time is relaxation time. Means between the two collisions, whatever time is there, that is known as relaxation time. Two electrons are colliding. So between these two electrons, whatever is the time, electron is has slowed up, electron is moving back, electron is preparing itself. This is what is known as the relaxation time. Okay.
yes ma'am.
So see, relaxation time is tau. It is represented as tau. It is just time. Don't think that tau means this is something related to torque or something. It's just that, see, this is a different time. No, this is not the time that we take in our normal equation. Time's definition is the same. Just to represent it differently, just to make it very visible that this time is the successive collisions time interval. This is that time. This is not regular time that the electron takes to move from one edge to another edge. This is not that time. That time is represented by t. But what is relaxation time? It's the specific time between the two collisions, whatever is this time gap. This is what is known as the relaxation time. So this relaxation time, in order to make it unique, this symbol is used. But it's time only. Don't think it's a new quantity which you don't know. It's time. Okay?
Ma'am, so will we relate this with the previous chapter like torque is equal to PE?
No, no, this is not torque. This is time. The same time which you studied here. this time. I is equal to q by t. Same time. What do you know about time? That time. Okay, it's just that to just represent it different. Like every time you write t for time, instead of writing t, it's written. Like if I give you example, we write usually cos theta for the angle. If I want to
Yes, ma'am.
represent something differently, like I want to show the angular rotation, so I can use cos omega. That we use, we'll study in alternating current. Every time cos omega will come. So what does it mean? Omega is the angle only here. It's just a different symbol I've used. Or if I use cos of x, so this doesn't mean this is position. This means this is angle only. So it's like instead of using the regular uh, symbol, tau has been used. And this is not what I am taking. It's just that some symbols are not predefined and they are derived ones and they are being used by convention. So this is one of those symbols. So you also have to use that because it is mentioned in your textbook also. Okay, in NCRT, it's mentioned.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Now see, initial velocity I have written, time I have written. Now if I talk about the final velocities, final velocity, let's say v1, v2, v3, vn. See, if I use the first equation of motion, what is the first equation of motion?
Ma'am, we it's about
V is equal
V is
to
80.
V
No,
is
U
equal to
plus
80. U plus
U.
80. Now you're right. Yes. V is equal to U plus 80. This is the equation. So now if I write it for the electron, because V1, V2, V3, now how to substitute it? Let's use this equation. So first electron will be U1 plus 8 tau 1. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
V2 will be U2 plus 8 tau 2. V3 will
Yes,
be
ma'am.
V3 like this. Nth, these will be the final velocities. But what was the drift velocity? We were deriving the drift velocity. What was drift velocity? It was the average velocity with which all the electrons were drifting towards the positive terminal. So average velocity with which electrons are moving. Velocity with which electrons are moving. So average velocity with which electrons are moving means, can I say drift velocity is nothing but v1 plus v2 plus v3 till whatever is it, vn divided by divided by n.
Yes.
This is the only definition we studied, that it's the average velocity with which all the electrons are drifting. So, okay, we have written that. If this is the definition, then this is how the average will be taken out. Now we'll put the values of v1, v2, vn from here. So see, drift velocity will be v1 will be u1 plus 8 tau 1, v2 will be u2 plus 8 tau 2, v3 will be u3 plus 8 tau 3. Like this whole series will go on till the last electron. Let's say this is un plus a tau n. And this whole thing divided by n. This is it. I have just put in the values. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Now see, in order to simplify it, if I just separate certain denominators, means n is the common denominator, if I just separate certain numerators with this denominator. Look, Raneem, if I take u1 plus u2 plus u3 up till unth divided by n plus a tau 1 plus a tau 2 plus a tau 3 plus a tau 4, a tau 5 till a tau nth by n. Are these two equations different or they are the same? This one and this.
Ma'am, they'd be the same.
They are the same. It's just that I've separated. Right. If I write 5 plus 2 divided by 3, and if I write this 5 by 3 plus 2 by 3, it's the same thing.
Yes,
So
ma'am. Two.
that's what
Same.
happened. Now see, why did we do the step first? Because we know this. What was it? In the starting only we decided
Initial velocity
was
0.
0. So this whole term gets eliminated. And one more thing, Ranim, I'll mention it here. Sometimes this is asked in the objective, means not in your boards, in your NEET it can be asked. This is also known as average initial thermal velocity. Because electrons are not moving because of certain electric field. They are just moving because of their thermal energy or their thermal agitation, which we discussed. The electrons are in random motion. There is no proper defined motion. That's why this is called average initial thermal velocity. Means this velocity is zero because electrons are just moving because of the thermal agitation. Till here it's clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Now I'll separate acceleration is getting multiplied to time. So I'll take acceleration common and I'll get tau 1 plus tau 2 plus tau 3 plus tau 4 till tau nth divided by n. See Raneem, each of the time that we took was the relaxation time. So if I'm taking this, it should be, what
Yes,
is this?
ma'am.
Just this part. See, individual,
Average relaxation time.
exactly. This is the average of the relaxation. So instead of writing this every time for the electrons, no, you will be just given one single value of time. That will be the average relaxation time. It is represented as tau. One symbol is used for it. That is just one tau is used. That is representing the average relaxation time. The drift velocity will be a into tau, where your tau is what the average relaxation. Got it till here?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, Raneem, let's say this is equation 2. Put, or I'll write it here only, put 1 in 2. If you remember, we have kept an equation 1 here. Acceleration, we already know minus EE by m.
Yes.
If I put this here, I'll get the drift velocity as minus EE tau by m, minus when I'm writing it up in the proper vector manner without the magnitude. So this is the whole derivation of the drift velocity. What is Vd? Vd is the drift velocity. What is E? E is the electronic charge. And what's the value of electronic charge, Raneem?
Ma'am, 1.6 into 10 to power minus 19.
Yes, very good. 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb. Then what is capital E? It's the electric field. What is tau? Tau is the average, not the relaxation time, but the average relaxation time. I'll write also here SI unit is second, so that you remember this is not a new unique thing. It's just time. A different symbol is mentioned.
Yes, ma'am.
And M, Raneem, be careful. If you are given the mass of the wire, you are still not considering them. Remember, we calculated this acceleration for the electron. Acceleration due to the moving electron. That was the heading. So this is the mass of the electron, F by M. Force on electron by mass on electron. This is not the mass of the wire, mass of conductor नहीं है ये. ये क्या है? Mass of electron. This is mass of electron. That is 9.31 into, take it as 9.5. Take 9.1 into 10 to the power minus 31 K. Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. See, this average relaxation time, no, average relaxation time is what? Relaxation time is when electrons have stopped themselves and they are now begin to move towards the next. See, all these things were temperature dependent. So if I increase the temperature, electrons will tend to move faster.
Yes, they will.
They will. So if electrons are moving faster, the relaxation time will be less because they'll come back, they'll stop quickly and then they'll begin the next collision quickly. Means we can
Yes.
say if I increase the temperature, this average relaxation time will decrease because electrons have to move fast. Now from this formula, we can see drift velocity and average relaxation time. Average relaxation time, drift velocity are directly proportional to each other. So if this decreases, drift velocity will also decrease. These questions come in the MCQs. That's why I'm discussing in your MCQs of board exams. I'm not even talking about NEET. In the board exams also it comes. And if we decrease the temperature, electrons will move very slowly. The average relaxation time will increase. Every electron will have its space. It will have proper time to take a rest. And so as to, if you can see from the formula, drift velocity will increase. Am I clear till here, Aneem?
Ma'am, drift velocity is increasing just because it's directly proportional to tau.
Yes, mathematically increasing. There is no physical reason for it. You cannot relate it with a physical reason.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. It is velocity is time dependent. Velocity is directly proportional to time. So it is increasing. That's it. Write down this derivation. This question you have written, no? We discussed it.
Yes, ma'am. Last class.
Write it.
Ma'am, is there any consider statement or something? Introduction.
In this, no, we are just talking about single electron. No, we have not taken a figure where we are considering something. So just start with it, acceleration due to moving electron. And then we'll write here, let whatever I've written, here it's sufficient. Let's assume n is the number of electrons. Because it can be anywhere. It's not a single specific structure that we are talking about.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, done, ma'am. Ma'am, done, ma'am. Ma'am, done, ma'am. I'm done, ma'am. Ma'am, done, ma'am.
Okay, Raneem, look. Now, apart from this, there is one more derivation. This was a very lengthy derivation. There is a small derivation that often comes in the exam, and that formula is also very important. In this drift velocity, we didn't have any mentioning about current. So
Yes.
the topic, next topic is relation between current and drift velocity. So the formula also we are going to derive it for this. Okay, so here we'll require the considered. So basically, we are establishing a relationship between the current and the drift velocity. So here, let us consider a segment or a wire of length L. Okay, so we are taking a wire whose length is L with A as the area of cross section. So cross section, Rani, but like, see, we already have bio. You can understand the transverse section that we take. In
Yes.
fence and all, we take a transverse section. So that is the cross section. Wire is there, and you're taking a transverse section. So
So
the
horizontal.
above part, yes, exactly, that is the cross section. So A is not the area of the entire wire. So it's the just area of the cross section, which is usually circular in the question that you will get. A is the area of the cross section with N as the number density of electrons. Number density of electrons. Number density means how many electrons are there per unit volume. So A is the area of cross section, L is the length of the conductor, N is the number density of electrons, VD is the drift velocity. Now see, if the two blue electrons that I have marked, just look at them. The rest of it is just a part of figure. If the electron is starting from here and it is moving towards the opposite side, or let's say electron is moving from here, positive terminal to यहाँ पे है ना. So electron starts from this side and it is drifting towards the positive terminal over this side. So what is the distance covered by the electron?
Ma'am, straight.
Yeah. So what's that? How will you calculate
Just
it?
the length.
Length. Exactly. So length will be the distance. Now, this relation speed is equal to distance upon time from class 11.
Yes.
So time will be equal to the distance means length by the speed, that is drift velocity. Is
Yes,
it
ma'am.
right? So this is equation 1. Now, this is just one additional thing that just in case this is not even a part of derivation, you can skip it also. This basically says that if you have capital N given, which is number of electrons per unit length, then see, your small n can be written as capital N by N also sometimes. So this is just I have mentioned it here so that you remember that capital N is different. We are talking about small n. Okay. Now, coming to the charge. So if I say total charge, so we have a relation Q is equal to NE from the quantization of charge. Can you recall this?
Yes, ma'am.
So this is quantization of charge. Okay, now these are all about the numbers. What if I want the total electrons that are present throughout the wire? Like if I want to get what's the exactly amount of electrons throughout the whole wire. So if I multiply it, this whole number with its volume, will it give me the total charge throughout the volume?
Um, Ma'am, if there are spaces left, no.
No, complete volume we are taking.
Ma'am, you mean if we take the whole volume, will it give the number of electrons?
Yes, because we have multiplied it with any. N means only number of electrons will be taken where electrons are present. If 5 electrons are distributed throughout the conductor, so our Q is equal to Ne will be 5e only. So from where will we get those extra electrons which are not present? Volume is being just taken, like what you're saying, there are gaps also. Electrons are not just completely filling it tightly. This is what you're
Yes,
saying, no?
ma'am. Yes,
See,
ma'am.
whatever is the number of electrons, let's say this is the wire from inside. Electrons are present like this. Let's say 5 electrons are there. So I just have the number of, this is just the number of electron, no, N into E. Number of electron into the electronic charge. So if I
Yes.
multiply it with the volume, this N will always be fixed. I'll always put N as 5. So for these spaces, for these voids, will I get additional electrons? We have already taken
No.
N. Number of electrons we will put according to the question N. N is fixed for us, the number of electrons, right?
Yes,
So
ma'am. So
here,
volume does not play a role here.
volume will help us to get the total. It will just analyze how much volume, how much electrons are distributed throughout the volume, because electrons are not present at one particular space. Otherwise, Q is equal to Ne was sufficient, but we need throughout its volume. So number of electrons multiplied to the total volume will give us within this volume how many electrons are actually present. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
So total charge throughout the conductor. So total charge throughout the conductor will be, we'll just multiply it. So here we can say volume is area into the length.
Yes.
And this is how we calculate pi r square L. That's the volume. Pi r square means the area. The total charge will be the complete charge. Let's say this is Q dash. This complete charge Q will be Ne into A into L. This multiplied to this. Let's say this is equation second. Now I'll write one more equation that defines the current. Current is equal to charge divided by time. Third, now I have the time also, I have the charge also. Can I put it in this main equation?
Yes, ma'am.
Can? So if I put 1, 2 in the third one, see, current will be charge is NEA into L and time is length by drift velocity. See, length will be cancelled and drift velocity will go above. So here we'll get current is equal to NEA PD. This is the relationship between the current and the drift velocity. What is
Ma'am,
I here?
length, L by drift velocity.
Time
Yes,
T
ma'am.
from here. Okay, from the first. So this is from the time and this is the number of electrons. E is the electronic charge. A is the area of cross section. And VD is the drift velocity. Okay, is that clear?
Ma'am, if why are we considering only the area of cross section if we want the number of electrons throughout the length?
Because we
Throughout.
multiply it with the length. We multiply it with the length for throughout. It's just that length is getting cancelled.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, length got cancelled, that was a different thing. We took area and length both. Length got cancelled, that happened different. Now see Raneem, can you tell me the relation between current and area?
Ma'am, directly proportional.
Yeah, it seems that the current is directly proportional according to this formula. But see, if I say current is the rate of flow of charge, means it's all about the amount. Remember, we discussed also, you asked me this question in the last class. Is it related to amount or speed? So I told you it
Yes.
is related to amount. So if 3
Yes.
coulomb of charges are entering, whatever be the area, 3 coulomb of charge will only leave.
Yes.
So current is actually independent of the area of the cross section. Whatever the question says, however it will confuse you, or in your viva also, remember current is independent of the area of cross section. But what is then dependent on? Area and drift velocity are inversely proportional. Because speed can vary with area. If the area is lesser, electrons have to have a very high speed. You can take the example of the Bernoulli's theorem, which you must have done it in your class 11.
Yes, ma'am.
Wherever the
It
area
involved
was
pressure.
yes, inversely proportional to pressure. So lesser of the area, fluid had to move with a lot of pressure in order to pass through the smaller area. And when the
Yes.
area was greater, the pressure was less. So here also, when the area is very less, electrons have to move with a higher velocity. So that's
So
why this
here we are just replacing electrons, liquid and electrons.
fluid with electrons and pressure with speed. Okay. Now see, like if I give you once this kind of question came also. See, here I1 will be equal to I2. Whatever is entering will only exit, no matter how great is the area or how lesser is the area. But if we know that A2 is greater than A1, means this bigger end is there, this is the narrow end. So we can say drift velocity of the first one will be greater than the drift velocity of the second.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Write it till here, then we'll discuss Ohm's law. This derivation is very important. Just mark it important in your notebook when you write relation between current and drift velocity. This formula also should be remembered by you. We'll be using it ahead also in the other derivations. Okay, please
Yeah.
write.
Ma'am, is there any relation theoretically between current and drift velocity?
Theoretically, as in like meaning wise.
Ma'am, like, yes, ma'am, meaning wise, like by definition.
No, they are just directly proportional that you can say.
So, ma'am, for relating,
No, no. See, relation here means that you're establishing a formula between them. Like, how can current and drift velocity be related? physically there is no as such relation between them that you can just relate and it will be helpful. It's just that we are seeing whether current and drift velocity are they related to each other not or not in any case. So through derivation or mathematically only you can understand this. Because see, len gets cancelled, so we get this formula. If this doesn't happen here, or this didn't happen other part, this we didn't get. From here only we are getting drift velocity. You can analyze after this relation. You can conclude things from this formula. But without it, there is no relation. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, done. Ma'am, done, ma'am. Ma'am, a little up. Ma'am, done. Ma'am, done, ma'am. Ma'am, done, ma'am.
Okay, Raneem, now the next topic is Ohm's law. It was a very, very important topic. Ohm's law will be used till your last chapter of class 12. Semiconductors also you will be using Ohm's law. Law is very simple and it's very easy. It's just that the applications are so huge that this formula that we obtain on getting Ohm's law, that will be used often. So this is the main thing you should keep in mind about Ohm's law, that direct questions are very few. But throughout this chapter, throughout the next chapter, and you're even in the chapter electromagnetic waves, you will have to use this. So this law basically says that it says provided the temperature, pressure, any surrounding things do not change, the voltage applied across a cell is directly proportional to the current. Potential difference directly proportional to the current. See, we remove the proportionality sign by putting a constant and I. Now, what is this constant here? This constant is nothing but resistance. Resistance, we'll have a proper discussion on resistance, what is the meaning of resistance and all. And you have the next topic as resistance only. So I'm not much emphasizing on this resistance, but let me give you a brief about it. The Ohm's law says that provided your temperature, pressure, these are not changing, the potential difference applied across the ends of the conductor, it is directly proportional to the current. So this is the potential
Ma'am,
difference.
can you explain it using one diagram?
I'll explain you. I is the current and R is the resistance. See, here diagram isn't needed, as in, see, if there is a circuit, say there is a resistor connected, there is a battery switch and all, this is a circuit. The resistance is R, potential is V. So this says that whatever, let's say I amount of current is flowing across, okay, throughout this. So it says that this V and this I, they will be directly proportional to each other. That's it. This is the law. It's a law, no? So law says that they are directly. Now, from here we conclude this inference that potential, if it is directly proportional to current, so what's the constant that comes? So the constant is the resistance R. Now, resistance from the term only, resistance means reluctance in the smooth path. That the
Yes.
normal term resistance means this only, you are resisting to do something. Resistance is the same resistance which we use in our day-to-day life. So here, when electrons are moving, they will also feel resistance while moving. That will slow down their velocity, slow down the amount of current. So that is what is meant by resistance. But don't worry about resistance. This we'll talk in detail. Throughout, we'll be using the term resistance.
Ma'am, so is potential difference also directly proportional to resistance?
Yes, yes. It is directly proportional to resistance also. But it wasn't directly coming because of the law. Law said that they are proportional. But experimentally, when it was calculated, it was seen that this is nothing but resistance. So it is also direct.
Ma'am, this all is magnitude wise, ma'am.
Current and resistance, they can never be negative. So it will
Yeah.
always be positive. Okay. Write down this law, Rani. Raneem, done?
Yes, ma'am, just a minute.